Okay, here we are. Once again, we are recording. Hopefully the sound is good. I'm just gonna adjust that a little bit more. Okay, so there we
nice
go.
tongue.
Yes, there we go. He seems so much shorter than me.
Well, yeah.
Today is September 30th, 2015. We are doing a live event at Royal Collectibles. Royal Collectibles, right there. Located at 9601 Metropolitan Avenue in New York. I am here this month because, as we do every month, we have a guest. We are here with, if I can see that, Jared Barel. Yeah, that's him from Loaded Barrel Studios. Jared has been a friend of the show for quite some time.
It's been a long time. I don't know. It's
6,
been
7
years.
8 years,
Yeah,
7?
something like that. I don't know. We
When
definitely should be engaged at this point. It's too long.
when do we? I remember we met before the PhillyCon, right? That was because I knew you at the PhillyCon.
Yeah,
so
that's
it
a
was
long
the year
time ago.
before.
I mean, the first PhillyCon I did was in 2007, which was when we started the studio. It was 2007. We did New York Comic Con, and then we did Wizard World Philly.
Okay.
So we either met that
had
first
to have been the
one
New York
or my
Comic Con.
second Philly. We met in Philly, I think, though. Right?
The one where you had the corner booth when you walked in
Mhm.
Philly. That was the second year that I had already known you. When we went to that party with the
I don't even. They're all
it
a
was-
blur. They're all like I used to have memories of all these shows, and they used to be separate things, and now it's just one. It's one show.
The story that
for
I
8 years.
like to mention on the radio show that we do, we went to this party in Philly with Smoke, the wrestler Smoke, and we went to one of the actors from the Cosby Show. He played.
Wait, you were at that party, dude?
Yes.
The actor from the Cosby Show. Got to tell the story because now, okay, it was like his house, right?
It was his house that we went to. That
and
that
first
was
off,
the
he's
second
an
year I met
actor
him.
from the Cosby Show that
Yes.
like you don't remember.
He
like
was.
I don't know
He
who the hell
played
he was in the Cosby
the
Show.
husband of one of the I think the nieces,
I
the
don't
oldest
remember.
one. So it'd be
I don't
Lisa
know.
Bonet. Lisa Bonet's
Right.
character, her husband who's like in the military. I think that was that one. That was the house we went to.
Right. Okay. So I ran into him. I was actually at the at Menin Arena in Garden State, where Garden State Comic Fest was.
Right.
I was in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition, and I saw him in a gi walking past. He's like a brown belt or something, and I was like, "Why do I know this guy?" And like I said, "Dude, I know you. Why do I know you?" And he's like, "Well, I was on the Cosby Show," and was like, "Yeah, okay," but he was like, "Wait, you do something with Comic-Con, right?" He's like, "Well, I used to whatever Philly." I was like, "We were at his house partying." Boom.
You went to his house and he doesn't even know.
Doesn't even know. No.
That was that's the story I always
That
like
was
to
it.
remind him.
Luckily, it wasn't another cast member from the Cosby Show, and I didn't have anything to drink from him. And
Yeah, I remember
Bad. Sorry.
they had that, and that was when they were promoting P Diddy's.
Ciroc.
Yes. Yes.
And it was like brand new.
Yes, it
And
was
we were
that.
like, and they were like, you gotta come because it's like the Ciroc party, P Diddy, and we're like, oh my god, we're gonna like P Diddy's gonna be at this party like
Yeah,
for Wizard World
at this-
Comic Con.
At this house.
No, there was
from
Ciroc
an
there, but
from
yeah.
an actor that was in the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
That was our second year, so it was the year before that I had met you. That was
Okay, so
whatever-
that was
whatever
2008 then.
okay. So
Yeah, that was early on. If it was that party, that was early on.
So that's-
Philly always had the coolest parties.
Yeah.
It dwindled. I was at like some after party bar like a year, not this past year or the year, yeah, so it was like 2-3 years ago, whatever it was, and both the Boondock Saints were there. Norman Reedus
okay.
and Sean Patrick Flannery. They were there, and like a whole bunch of
Flannery,
actors
yes.
from like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They were something was being promoted, but I remember being like at the bar and like, dude, the Boondock Saints are here. And then later that weekend, Norman Reedus stopped by. He was actually like stopped by my booth and was hanging out at the Loaded Barrel Studios booth. And we had a picture of him with my book. There he is, Norman. Norman's now doing an interview with me. But we had a picture of him holding up my book, and his security guard pressed the camera so hard, he broke the button, and we didn't get the picture.
Really.
Didn't get the picture.
So that.
But he was really cool. He was hanging out with us for like 10 minutes. It was just us. Like the show was closed and stuff. It was pretty cool.
So that's 8 years. That's 2015. That's
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
So we've known him for 8 years, and as you just saw, he does artwork. But we met him through this fine little book why don't you tell people about this fine little book that you have that you're quite
Well,
enjoy?
when we met, it was a fine little book because it was just the first chapter of it that we put out as our first comic book, and that's Brielle on the Horror. But now it's like a fine, really big 200-page book, which is the whole first arc of the graphic novel. It's hey, is that in focus? I got people got to see how beautiful that is. So Brielle on the Horror is my graphic novel is about a 16-year-old girl who's born with a demon inside her. Now she's getting older. This thing's coming to the surface. She's got to learn how to control it, almost like a rise and new kind of hero before it brings about the end of the world. Do the illustration. I'm sure, is that your next question? I read his mind because we've done these interviews so many times.
Yeah, you've been on the show a lot of times. We've actually did when the last one was at the New Jersey Anime Comic Con, and we had a little interest. But I didn't put you in a spot. I put your table buddy.
My table buddy.
Yes. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to put it out there.
No, seriously. If we did that, I wouldn't get people coming and showing pictures of me when I do signings. But yeah, no, I didn't get interviewed on the last one.
Right.
I didn't.
I put your
Table
lovely
buddy.
Yes, your lovely table buddy to help you out to put it on the spot
Sounds so
because
nerdy.
you say you have it down pat. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but I was like, what's the book by? He just bam.
Because there's a
you said
section
it.
of my brain that turns off, and there's just a pre-recording that goes. And so it's like, this is how you explain it. And it's tough too, because when I'm like talking to like human beings in person, and they ask me like the same question, like, oh, what's the book about? Like, not in give me the pitch to sell me, just what's
Right.
the book? Like, I can't not say what the book's about, like
In
in
the
a
way.
cadence any way other than exactly that, because it's pretty concise. Like, it pretty much says what it is, but the tone, the inflection, all of it is just, I can't. It's just the only way I know how to talk about it.
And as I've mentioned many times before, but there's a lot of people who are watching this for the first time because it's going to be on our YouTube page, which is new for us.
Congratulations.
What makes it interesting is how the book is constructed, and the fact that, once again, as I always like to help promote the independent guys, that it's good. It's always mentioned
Thank you.
that it's
Thank
good.
you. Yeah, thanks.
As you can see, let me hold out the page right there. Is that your brother on there?
No.
Is that him right there?
Spoiler alert, I think my brother's dead already. I think, yes.
Isn't that him right there?
No. You know, it's funny. A lot of people think that's me. And he's an actor that I work with. I'm actually producing a film with him. His name's Alex Emanuel. He's going to be very happy that I said his name. But
That's
now the part that he's going to be unhappy about is he's like 20 years older than me. So every time someone's like, oh, is this you? I'm like, dude, really? No.
Where are you? Give me a picture where you are.
All right.
So what I'm getting at.
I didn't make it very far in this book.
What I'm getting at right now is that they photograph the book. They write the script. They plan it as a movie. They film it. They take pictures, the camera angles, and everything, and then they draw the artwork on top of that. I forget the name of the movie that was famous for that back in the day.
Oh, we don't have to bring up that movie. That's
But-
A Scanner Darkly is what you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm trying to pick a pretty picture of me.
And so
Screw it, give me the other book. I look better than
we
you.
didn't get to the other book yet. All right, we'll
Well,
get to
whatever.
the other
You're
book.
still looking for me, right?
Yes, we're still looking for
There
you.
he is.
Okay, see, so he acted the scene out. Do you actually do the dialogue also when are you actually saying the words?
No, I mean, first of all, I'm in these books so little that
Well,
usually
let's-
my part is usually like,
Well,
but sometimes
when
the
you-
actors, yeah. I mean, one of the things I'm a filmmaker, so I direct film. So I'd like to think that I can at least pride myself on getting a good performance out of somebody and all that stuff. So sometimes, depending on who's acting or whatever, to make it so that they're not posed and like modeling, if they feel comfortable doing it, they'll say the lines while we're taking pictures, which gets to be a kind of funny thing because it's different from when you're acting in a film where you'll have a dialogue back and forth and do a scene. Instead, they'll just say the same line over and over again, like different ways trying to say the same line, and it
Right.
becomes like this weird surreal nightmare to be on set. But the effect ends up being a more natural performance because while I think we're innovators in this particular style, we certainly didn't invent it, but I think
Right.
we've done something that's a little bit different. I think oftentimes when you see books that are more photo based, people call it fumetti, we call it live action is our style. Things tend to look really posed. right? Because someone's sitting there like, oh hey,
Exactly.
and it looks a little forced, like a bunch of mannequins talking to each other. So for us, it's been a little bit more about capturing a performance. So it is more cinematic, it's more filmic, it's more natural.
So you can call this a cinematic comic book?
Yeah, basically, why not? Right? I mean, that's the way people often, I guess, describe it. I'll give the pitch, which is, we call it live action because we shoot everything live like a film. So this is gonna go right into the cadence, right? Shoot everything live with actors, sets, props, all that stuff, and then through a fusion of digital and traditional illustration, you get a very live cinematic look to the comics, which has a very cool comic book look, but it does have a very filmic cinematic thing. And often people will say, "Oh, it's kind of like storyboards."
Okay.
And it's a similar thing. I think in a storyboard setting, it'd be weird to like go out and shoot your image and then storyboard it, because often you want to like a quick sketch for a storyboard and then go shoot it. But it sort of has that same effect that, again, Jordan and I, coming from film, we want it to be like a movie. I guess that's sort of always been our goal, is to turn these books into films. So when you're reading our book, I hope you do feel like you're reading a movie.
And as I said, it does flow better than a lot of things that you would see, as that it's not posed, because it does flow. And that was led to the second book, which I always have to say is my favorite. I always like this one better. Cool. I know the other one was your heart and soul, your first one.
Well, it's funny because Brielle and the Horror, it's weird to say that it's the first one, because the first two chapters of the book were the comics that we released initially, and they were in single issue form, which are now big collector's items because we don't sell them anymore. But so we did the first couple issues, and then we did Gray as the full graphic novel, and then we went back and finished Brielle and the Horror as the full graphic novel. So on that note, Brielle and the Horror is like so my baby, because it's sort of the reason why we started this company in the first place. But yeah, I mean, Gray is pretty close to my heart as well, and
this here.
I think I've heard a lot from like fans that there's sort of a 50-50 as to which ones they like better.
So let's do the pitch for Gray.
So the pitch for Gray, going right back into cadence. Gray's about a New York City cop who moves to the countryside looking for the quiet life, but after a case of mysterious deaths and disappearances, just might have an alien running through his fields. So Gray, again, a little sci-fi. It's got it's a cool mystery. There's a bit of horror in it, and it's got, without any spoilers, got a really cool twist to it. And what's cool about both the books is they're both award-winning books. So Gray actually won the silver medal from the Independent Publishers Book Awards for Best Graphic Novel.
You don't have the award?
Well, because it was published and then we won the award. So I have
to make new ones. With
well, I got to sell the old ones. So if you guys want to see new books with the cool, foils on them and stuff, buy these, and then force me to reprint them. But Brielle and the Horror, as I'm getting better, not only as an artist and writer, but also as a publisher, Brielle's actually won 7 awards. Best graphic novel, best designer here, there, and whatever.
Best designer here and there.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, the list is so long.
Best designer here and there. That's the actual award.
I got designer of the year from the LA Book Festival.
No, but best designer here and there.
And there, wherever.
That's the greatest. This is the award show for here and there.
Here and there, wherever. And I directed a trailer for Brielle and the Horror. Because like I said, we're trying to, the goal is to make these into films. So actually, after we put out the first issue, I went and shot a trailer for what the movie could look like, big production trailer that we shot. And last year it got nominated for Best Trailer for the Geeky Awards. Yep. So that was really cool to be able to, we flew out to LA. Well, I flew out to LA, Jordan was there.
Jordan would be his brother. And
Jordan's my brother, and he's my co-writer,
co-producer.
Just in case you haven't been stalking me and drawing pictures. Which, by the way, was the coolest thing ever. I have to explain this, but we'll explain this. So we're doing this interview here. We were just doing a book signing
at Royal
Collectibles, and one of the coolest things that ever happened to me at a signing or show or anything. This woman came up to me and said, "Oh, you're the artist?" Yeah, and she said, "Well, my daughter's here. She's also an artist, and she drew you." And I said, "Okay, that's different." So, but the girl came over and pulled out a drawing, 8.5 by 11, and sure enough, she drew me, and it was me, which was so super cool. But just imagine that for a second. it was a little weird.
We'll put the pictures up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean it's just
And
fantastic job.
Yeah, it
Very
looks
cool.
just like him.
Very
And
cool.
I was wondering, and I didn't ask at the time, that did she do it like right there and then, just watching and just scanning, or was it something from somewhere else? Because she could have been following you around for months to getting the likeness great, because it looked really good.
She was good. I mean,
Yeah.
one day she could be doing her own book for Loaded Barrel Studios.
So that's the story
So,
on that.
yeah.
What was her name? Amy, DJ,
AJ?
AJ. I said Amy and DJ. I was close.
There you go.
It was AJ. So yeah, shout out to AJ.
Yeah, no, fantastic work, and actually truly honored. So we're joking a little bit, but actually, really blown away. It was really one of the coolest moments that I've had doing these things. I think.
So tons of awards. And,
Tons of awards.
And there's some special effects in these books. So do you also set up the special effects when you're filming it? Like, do you have, like, if somebody's floating in the air, do you have somebody stand up on a table and you?
Yeah. So
You
actually, I don't know
actually
if you want to here. Let's flip to that page because I actually had to
There we
do some special effect acting. Let's see if we can find the page real quick. Here, vamp for me while I'm flipping pages. Here we go. Never mind. I didn't need you at all.
even get a chance.
All right. So in this particular shot, spoiler alert, but this is pretty early in the book.
Right there, yeah.
This guy over here is floating up. I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but this is an alien book, so you can guess. So that's me. So to get that effect was miserable. We were in my basement shooting, and we got a ladder, and to position my body in such a way that looked like I was being pulled up from basically my gut up and hanging.
Right.
I had to basically like lean over backwards on this ladder and arch myself back, which I guess if you do a lot of yoga is not really the biggest of deals. I've only recently started doing yoga, and this is an older book, but it was miserable. Because also what was tough was that I wasn't handling the camera because I was up on the ladder backwards. So Jordan was actually taking the shots, and he's the last person to be taking shots. Like, he's the writer. He's not supposed to be taking photographs. So it would be like, run up the ladder, kill myself over the back, have him take a picture, be like, no, that's not how you're supposed to do it, and then go back and fix it until finally we got a shot to do it. But, so that kind of stuff, we do different special effects. We had a really cool scene in Brielle and the Horror where Brielle is killing a whole bunch of guys, right? Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but she's got these metaphysical arm spiky things, and she's
Right.
killing like a whole room full of guys. Really cool scene. But we had limited actors on set, so I had one guy playing all the different troops. So what we did, and we wanted to give him like, that he was like up against the wall, he was being splattered here, there, wherever. So we set up the camera, we locked it up, and had him just jumping and posing as if he was getting impaled. And later we composited all the shots, and then I went back and drew it all, which sounds really weird because I'm drawing it all anyway, but we do want to give that realistic look to it. But it came out so cool. It was so cool because he actually did a really good job performing, and that's sort of what's awesome about what we do, is that you're capturing a real performance. So even though I can enhance a performance, it's real and it's there.
Foundation.
Right, exactly. But I mean, I don't feel like, to me, like there's more of an attachment to characters because they're sort of alive. There's a life there, and especially this is an indie book, so these are characters that you don't know as well. It's not like Wolverine or something like that. It's new characters, new people. So you're seeing these new images, and to get like that sort of realism of that like impact and that depth, I feel like it takes on a different sort of feeling.
And that's what drew my attention, because for people who don't know, when you go to a comic book convention, there's a bazillion people out there, and they have all their works, and you have to get their attention within the first 2 or 3 seconds. You see a book, you look at it, like, okay, but then the fact that the way he explained it, actually gave me the idea to give it a second look, and then you look at it and you can appreciate how it was put together, which is why so I picked up the book. I'll never forget that. I was like, all right, okay, I've seen something like this before, it's fine. But then when you said, oh, we really shot it out, you can see all the energy and effort.
Wait a second, this
and
doesn't
stuff.
suck.
And well, yeah. You meet a lot of people. It's that's what you have to think. Does it suck or does it not suck within the first 2 or 3 seconds? And it's the bigger the convention, the harder it is. And it was in Philly, which there's a lot of people there, a lot of stuff to take a look at. And I remember it. And then when you explained it, because I try to give the people a little more time.
Right.
And it was explained. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then you go home and you read it, and it was really good. And then, like I said, when the next one came out, it kind of just kept on going. And the fact that you won all these awards lets people know that it's pretty darn good.
I mean, I feel like, thank you. The artwork and the technique and everything was, it's an aesthetic thing that I chose to do because we started, we wanted to make a comic book. That was the whole company started, our whole foray into doing this industry was because we had an idea for a movie. We said, this would be a cool idea for a comic book. Let's go make a comic book. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how the hell to make a comic book. So this was sort of my idea on like, how can I just do one? And when I work, I want to make sure that I'm doing work, whether it's in film, whether it's illustration, design, whatever work I'm doing, that's at a professional level. So for me to go and try and draw traditionally the way the guys are doing it, Marvel and DC and stuff, I know that I can't produce that type of work on that type of level. But I know that I can produce work on that level, I think, or at least close somewhere near that level, just in a different style. And that was sort of how we brought it in, and I hope that's what I like about what you said is that like it serves as a gateway, as an entry point to get to what really matters, I think, and that's the story and that's the writing. And the fact that you like it and our fans that see us at the shows and stuff read it and like it and find that they're getting a really cool, good story is to me way more important than whether or not you think the art's cool or not.
Well, the one of the important...
I don't know how true that is. I want you to also think the art's cool.
One of the important things has been a debate forever. I think we mentioned this on our last live stream. Artwork versus the story.
Right.
A lot of times, the artwork is what grabs people's attention. And I remember distinctly in the 90s, there was a huge debate as to what's more important, the artwork or the story. So since you promote, publish and produce your own stuff that has your own artwork and a story, what's more important when it comes to comic books?
I mean, I think comic books or movies, either or, and I think the story gets lost oftentimes in both. I mean, stories got to be, you need to be the slave to your story. You have to serve story, right? I mean, I think we're starting to see, well, we're not starting to see it, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of it for decades, especially in film, which I think is a really good example of what we're talking about, where the story gets lost in special effects and throwing money at the screen, where you can make a great film and tell a great story for no money if the script is great, and a great script costs nothing to make. And I think it's the same with comics and graphic novels and all that. Whenever you're telling a story, I mean, that's the end goal, right? Is you got to tell a story.
Right.
So I don't care how great the artwork.
Isn't the end goal to make money?
Well, that's a totally different argument. I mean, yeah, but I think that's been also a point of contention, is money making versus art and telling a story. And again, we're seeing that especially and we're seeing it from publishers in the comics industry, where what sells is more important than what's good. And if something's selling already, it's easier to do a sequel or more of it or a reboot than to do something great and push that to try and make it something that's successful and could potentially also make money. And I think that gets lost a lot in, what's a recognizable thing that we can sell versus what's something good that could also sell. And I think it's unfortunate sometimes. Again, I feel like this is talking a little bit more about film, because I feel like there is a pretty good space in indie comics where you are seeing new and different stuff. But even that, I mean, retailers it's a tough business, because retailers only have a certain amount of shelf space. The same way that movie theaters only have a certain amount of cinemas,
right.
Screens. And when something smaller that could be great is fighting with the same space as something humongous that's got 4 screens or a whole shelf of whatever, that can get lost. And it's a tough space because you know, in the '90s it was cool because there was a huge in comics, especially, well, comics and film at the same time. The whole indie thing got really big.
Yeah.
It exploded. You know, you saw Image and Spawn. I mean, Spawn was the coolest thing ever. Still is to me. I think Spawn's awesome. But you know, in the Quentin Tarantino's and all that stuff in film, and it's kind of interesting because today, again, I mean, with technology. And accessibility to be able to do these different kinds of things, you can make a great film for very little money. You can make a great comic book for, you know, relatively.
Not that little money.
Relatively. I mean, I could almost make a feature film for the amount of money it took just to print Real in the Horror, but that's a totally different story.
Speaking.
I don't know if I answered your question at all.
Speaking of film. We're almost out of time. You see that?
I don't know. I could talk forever, so I don't even know if we have time.
Up there.
Oh my God, 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably gonna go a little longer because I still have to mention a couple of other things. But you have stuff you want to promote, the new short film.
Yeah. So on that note, I spent a bit of time. I was working on a fan film, and this is my first sort of announcement of it. I'm going to be releasing it next week. You'll be able to see it on jaredbarel.com/Robin. So I made a Robin fan film. It's pretty cool. That's totally out of focus.
Totally
JaredBarel.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. I'll be announcing it up there too. But made a really cool. It's like a 12-minute short film. Got a really cool fight sequence in it that I choreographed. I'm also in a little bit of. Pretty cool action. It's also a really cool, heartfelt story. It's a character that I love, and yeah, I'm really proud of it. It's really cool. It sort of started as a proof of concept piece for a bigger film that I want to do. Obviously, I'm not going to do a Robin film. I don't want a cease and desist letter for that. But I do.
You want a cease and desist letter for? You just opened yourself up.
I know I did. But yeah, so it started as a proof of concept thing. Like, can I do a cool action scene for a very little amount of money? And it turned into this 12-minute piece, which is kind of big for a short. And I'm just really proud of it. So we're going to be promoting it pretty hard. We'll be releasing it next week and promoting it at New York Comic Con. So you guys should go check it out, jaredbarel.com/Robin. It's not up yet, but check it out next week.
And speaking of next week, New York Comic Con, that's 2 weeks, right?
No, next week, next Wednesday. No, next Thursday.
That's a week away.
A week and a day. Yeah.
Today's Wednesday.
Well, it's set up as next Wednesday. The show's next Thursday.
A week and a day. So you're going to be there?
It's going to be there.
Where are you going to be? What's your booth number?
Booth number is 2060. We're across from Chevy. So we're going to have a whole bunch of new art, and we'll be promoting the film. You'll be able to see the film, though you're not going to probably be able to really watch it. Also, can I mention one other thing that I'm promoting?
No, he's not allowed to mention anything. What else?
Well, we didn't talk about this before, but on the film side, I'm also producing a feature film. We had a really cool fundraising party at Hi-Fi in New York City last week, which was a huge success.
Thanks for inviting me.
It was on Facebook. I invited everybody. You ignored it.
That's not the same thing as saying, hey, you want to come down.
New York Comic Con's next week. I don't have time to we'll argue about this later. But anyway, this film's called The Incoherence. That's incoherent with an S at the end. It's about a group of guys in their 40s that get their 90s band back together. It's a really cool, heartfelt story. Micro-budget film. We've raised a good amount of money. We're looking to raise some more. But we are doing an Indiegogo campaign. So if you check out theincoherence.com, I think it's theincoherence.com. Now I'm going to be scared. It might be theincoherencemovie.com. Check it out, or go on Facebook again. Find me, The Incoherence. There's an Indiegogo campaign that we've already raised a few grand on, and we're looking for some more. There are plenty of cool perks and stuff, and my co-producer would be very happy that I mentioned that.
What cool perks do they have?
I have no idea. I'm not in charge of the Indiegogo thing. I'm directing. I just direct.
You just direct. I guess we can ask about fan films because we've had this discussion a couple of times. So, what are you? Since you made a fan film, you now have a unique perspective on this.
I do, yeah.
Fan films, for those of you who don't know, is a high-end production of something. Usually,
sometimes.
Of a character that does not belong to them. It's copyrighted by somebody else, but because it's not for profit, you can make it legally. You can make it and have it out there. The biggest.
Neither one of us are lawyers, by the way, so I have no idea.
Yes, everybody on Facebook is a lawyer. I can say
doing like the little disclaimer thing that everyone's been posting too.
back in the day, there was a fan film of Batman versus Predator. It was
Yes,
a
that is so good.
It was on VHS.
So
tapes,
good.
and I don't know, probably sure you can find it if you really wanted to, but it was
You
really
should, it's
well
awesome.
done, and you see it's like, wow, this is so good. Why can't the big studios do something like this? And then as years go on, people make other things. Most recently, the biggest one that was out there was the Power Ranger fan film that everybody was talking about. That was really violent.
That was really cool.
And stuff. So, as making a fan film, what are the requirements of a fan film? What do you try to keep accurate to the source material, and what do you try to imitate what you already see out there? You try to make something of your own as fan films go.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think there's any rules. I think that's part of the fun of making a fan film, is that there are so many characters that are like out in the space, out in the world. Batman's been around for decades and decades and decades. And what's fun is that there's a love for these characters, and a love to want to see them more and doing more things, which is why like every year they reboot Spider-Man so we can get a new Spider-Man, and like we can get Batman for another 15 movies. That anyway. But I don't know. I think there's something fun about that when there's a character or a universe or something that other creators sort of want to play in, and it's not necessarily to do anything other than say, like, I have this cool idea for a story, and it involves these characters that you know. For me with Robin, there were certain aspects that I wanted to keep about the idea of the character, but if you nitpick canon and stuff, you're like, well, wait, what about this, man? And it's sort of not that. For my film, it was more about doing an origin story, a type of origin story of this character, sort of a different interpretation, which again we get in the feature films. There's a lot about the Dark Knight trilogy that's not the way we grew up knowing these characters, and honestly, I loved what they did with Robin at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. I just thought it was a cool, like, for the fans, like, this is cool. And even Tim Burton's version of Batman was totally different from what we had ever seen from Batman. And I think when you can sort of take a look at a character or a universe and reinterpret it in a way that says, like, hey, look, this doesn't have to affect what you think of the character or the world. This is just me playing. I think it just opens up an interesting opportunity to just tell new stories and show different things. I mean, for me as a director, it was fun to be able to play with the character and say, listen, I can take some liberties and assume that you know who I'm talking about because you clicked on the link that said Robin. So you're with me on the journey already. I'm not introducing you to something brand new and trying to get you in, especially in like a 12-minute time period. So that was sort of the fun of it to me. And I think, my favorite is the Punisher one with Thomas Jane we were talking about earlier. I mean, the
Dirty Laundry.
The Power Rangers one too. I mean, if they were in different costumes, that would have been a totally different film, right? And you'd have been like, all right, that was cool, but I don't know what the hell I'm watching. But put it in Power Rangers costumes, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this is such a crazy way of looking at Power Rangers. It had nothing to do with the Power Rangers universe at all,
right?
But it made it fun. It's a way to connect. And I think if you have a cool story to tell, there are interesting ways to connect when you're using other people's characters. I mean, my film deals a lot with bullying, with violence against women, and sexism and types of things like that. And so it's something that I haven't really seen in that universe, and I thought it was an interesting way to jump off and tell a story like that and do some cool stuff with the character that you already know.
All right, so we are over time.
Way over time, because I don't shut up. I just talk.
Any more shout-outs? Any more things you want to mention? Promote. This is the time. Let me hold up some of his artwork.
Well, shout out to my homies. So we got a whole bunch of artwork. Here, look at this one. This one's cool too.
You're supposed to be promoting.
This is a watercolor painting.
You're supposed to be promoting.
Check me out. Check us out at loadedbarrelstudios.com. It's LOADEDBARRELSTUDIOS.com. Follow me on Instagram, Loaded Barrel Studios, Twitter, Loaded Barrel 1, Facebook, Loaded Barrel Studios. You can also check out my personal work and hire me to do stuff, which is really cool, at jaredbarel.com, JAREDBAREL. And when Robin comes out, it's going to be jaredbarel.com/Robin. And check out theincoherence.com and help us out on Indiegogo. It's a really cool film, really cool project. You can see the trailer that we made is also on jaredbarel.com.
even after all these years, you always have some new things, some new stuff you always want to mention.
We're trying.
Producer, actor, director.
Little bit actor. Little bit actor.
Oh, shout out to your photographer, Alex.
Yeah, what did he do? Oh, we're just saying hi to Alex.
Well, I'm just saying that.
So Alex
he
Gause,
took all the pictures.
He took some of the pictures. Yeah, no, he took a lot of pictures.
That's terrible. Alex Gause.
Alex Gause and Jordan
Very
Barel.
nice guy. Yes.
None of that's on camera. Jordan Barel, my brother, write, produce. Alex Gause takes pictures.
There you can see that one.
There you go. Kind of. That's me still. We're still just promoting me. There's the other two guys.
Yeah. All right, so I just want to mention, I have a couple of things to mention. So we had a contest last month for the. Oh, can you get me the? I'm actually talking. Can you get me the artwork? We're gonna reveal the winner. It's over there. So we had a contest for this, and they had a like. This was from our artist Rolo Ledesma. He's on the back.
That's cool.
He did an original sketch cover, so we have a winner. All they had to do, we love doing easy contests, so all he had to do was.
Oh, that's cool. That's like a full.
Yeah.
Double
they
spread.
had a
awesome.
comment on the YouTube video, the interview, and the winner, which I mentioned, we're gonna have this name is his Shoksus. Shocks. I'm gonna hold that up. And that is the winner.
Shock.
So congratulations. We will put that up there. That way it's his.
There
So
you
know
go.
you're gonna get that. Also, we're gonna be at the Immortal Con.
this down.
Yes. We'll be at
Did a Wayne's World sketch? Getting tired of holding this. That's what she said. All right.
We're gonna be at the Immortal Con. Check it out. It's www.immortalcon.com this Saturday, the 3rd in Long Island. It's a convention. It's also supporting breast cancer. So that's always a good
awesome.
thing. We're gonna have our live show every Sunday at 4 p.m. Okay.
All right. Okay.
We're gonna have our live show every Sunday at 4 p.m. So make sure you listen to us there on AM 1240 WGBB.com. Also listen to our old shows on iHeartRadio. You can always check us out on more YouTube videos. We're gonna have another interview in a month or so for Royal Collectibles, which is at Royal Collectibles. It's really out of focus. I don't know
There it is. Now
Oh.
it's autofocusing.
There,
Kind of.
finally.
Kind of.
It's 9601 Metropolitan Avenue in Forest Hills, New York, and it's www.royalcollectiblesonline.com. So you can check this out there. And Jared, you wanted to mention one
Well,
thing?
I forgot. I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but come meet me and everybody else in the studio and buy our stuff at New York Comic Con next week, which you kind of mentioned. But booth number 2060. I just wanted to say that again. Booth number 2060. We're across from Chevy. We did mention that before.
Yes.
But also, I have a whole ton of new art being released next week and the film. So
And
come
also
see us.
you're gonna have the surfboards. Right?
Skate decks. Yeah, we got skate decks. We got a whole bunch of stuff. There's so much stuff to come see, so come see us. Limited and still screen art prints.
And as
all
I
that
love
stuff.
to do.
And Jordan's gonna be there. He's beautiful.
All I love to do with these live interviews, I'm gonna put you on the spot and say if anybody mentions this video at the New York Comic Con next week, they mention it to you, you're gonna give them a little sketch, or a little happy face, or something, a little painted business card, or
I mean,
or
yeah, I'll give you a
something.
business. No, we can do.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, you mention it. We'll come up with a deal for you.
There you go. So that's what I like to see. So
No, seriously though. You mentioned this thing. Come by. We'll find a deal for you.
You
I just gotta think what that is.
You have to make full price. You pay full price. Everybody else gets the discount.
That's right.
But you pay full price
Exactly.
if you mention the video. Right?
That's right.
So I guess follow
Pay
us
twice.
on.
They should charge you double for the signature.
Follow us.
I'll sign
on,
your name.
Yes. Follow us on Facebook at It Came From Radio. Follow us on Twitter at ICFTR. That's It Came From the Radio. ICFTR. That's Instagram. ICFTR. And like I said, you can check us out on our website www.itcamefromradio.com, and make sure you comment and subscribe below. We'll see you next time.